Right. All right, everyone. We have a special guest, Dr. Lee, who lost 26.4 pounds in 16 weeks at the age of 70. Lee,
Amazing.
I didn't say that wrong, right, Lee?
No, you said it absolutely right.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Lee, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your experience before Dr. Fit?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. I've been a veterinarian for 45 years. My dad was a veterinarian before me. Uh, and I've moved around a little bit, but then, quite a few got sick and we never figured out what it was. But in the process, about the only thing I slowed down was bread and candy and, fattening stuff. So I put quite a bit of weight on. But when I started feeling better, I slowly got back to work and slowly started working on getting my weight down. Over a long period of time. But I sort of felt stuck around 190 to 194 in there, and uh, um, didn't know where to go. I'm not can't remember how I found Doctor Fit, but I said, man, this was an advertisement or something. I said, well, let's at least check this out, and it's been a great fit for me. I mean, coach has been great helping me along, and being supportive when I sort of stumble, but also a little bit of a kick in the rear once in a while when I stray a little too far with because I love my sweets, I love my ice cream, I love my custard. But it's really helped me, and I got the weight off and I feel better and I've been a little more dedicated at being active. I have some things that make it hard to do the plating just because of my situation. I live in a town called Rupert, which is like 50 miles from where I work. So I stay with my sister during the week and then go home on weekends and days off. So I'm not controlling my dinners very often. So, uh, but I've been doing a lot better. I do pretty good with lunches at work most of the time and then sort of just make that some of my breakfast too. Eat a lot of the same stuff for breakfast as I do lunch, and
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
working out. Yeah, but I've been really good at getting my exercising, and I haven't missed hardly any of that.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, Lee, thank you, man, for sharing that. So, prior to just for some clarification, what had you tried prior to Dr. Fit? Like you said, you had got up to like 195. Like, what were some of the things that you tried prior to us?
Just low carb and keto. Uh, well, before I got sick, we even did Atkins, and actually, like my wife said, it's every time she went on a diet, I lost weight. So it's just whether she did or not. But
Right.
and that one actually had worked a little bit for me. I know that's awful high fat and
Yeah.
some
And so
other thing.
when you say it worked, were you able to sustain it, or that's why
I
that
was able I was sustaining it for a while till my wife went off it. So then the food wasn't there and
got it?
slipped back into old eating habits. But
So yeah,
yeah,
so those.
I was actually up to after I got sick, I was up to 212 pounds. And
Got
so
it.
over several years, I got back down to about 194, but I just couldn't seem to get below the 190.
And that's
Got
not
it. So,
that's very typical, right, Sif? Right?
yeah,
Say in our
absolutely.
mind a lot of times, hey, it worked, right? But what is the definition of worked? Right? The
Right.
definition of worked is the sustainability, right? Doing something that you can do even on your hardest day. So Lee, it sounds like you built a lot of habits, and those
Yeah.
habits didn't come overnight, if I remember correctly throughout the program. You mentioned
No.
earlier you had some encouragement from your coaches.
Yeah. They said, well, sometimes if you fall off at all, you might get discouraged. But I said, well, yeah, you had a setback. Let's get back going. But, you're right. You're going to have some minor ones. And like I said, sometimes situations make it tough to stay on the eating. just perfect, and I don't eat always that perfect, especially considering somebody else is fixing my dinners. I don't have control of some of that, so
So
I
Lee,
have to
Right.
you're
work
saying that
around it the
you're
best.
so Lee, you're saying that you weren't perfect,
Yeah, yeah, long
but you
ways
lost
from it.
but you lost
But I,
26.4 pounds at
yeah,
70. You don't need to be.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we keep trying to tell everyone. You don't
Yeah.
need to be perfect to see results.
yeah. I kept at it, and keep at it, and I do have, I think I've only missed 3 or 4 days where I didn't get my maximum movement in. I haven't missed any workouts yet. I'm going to Florida in September. That's going to be tough to get all the work-ins in, but I'm sure I'll get plenty of walking. But
Awesome. Prior to the
yeah, I
program,
mean,
Lee, what were you doing as far as were you this consistent with like exercise as well before the program?
I was working at it. I was fairly consistent, but not 6 days a week, maybe 3 to 4. And, didn't have any guidelines and stuff. I was trying to do weights and walk anyway, but, also felt like I wasn't as good a shape as I could be and just seemed like I'd get tired. Well, then I did have to have a stent put in November in my heart. So I had one of my vessels 99% block. I've been trying to
This
tell the
past
doctor,
year. This
huh?
past year.
Yeah,
This
just
past year, you're saying before the program, you had a stent put in.
yeah, before the program, yeah. And so they sort of, got me walking again too, some and working some. But yeah, before I was mostly trying to design my own weights and making sure I did it like 2 or 3 days a week and was walking in between. But before the stint, I felt like kept trying to tell the doctor. So no, even though I don't care how old I am, I should be able to do more without feeling winded or something. And
Right. So how do you feel now, man?
had
During
to,
the program, like, you're 70 years young. You got a faster metabolism than ever before, and the proof is in the pudding because you've lost even 26, a little over 26 pounds, and you weren't perfect. Everybody thinks they have to be perfect, right? You were able to eat carbs throughout the program, right? So how do you feel, man? How does your body now at post getting your results feel now? What can you share with us?
I think I feel a lot better, healthier. Usually have more energy, uh, and just have a better mindset in that way that got the mindset that I don't want to go backwards, I don't want to lose ground. I want to go forward and keep keep working at it, I mean, like you said, things come up sometimes and you can't stick to everything perfectly, but you just have to have the mindset that you're going to keep working at it. You get a step, 2 steps forward for every step backwards, and then you're going to be making progress.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so, Lee, I want to refer back to, with that said, I want to refer back to something you had mentioned in a school post. And I want to kind of ask you some questions about that.
Okay.
Specifically, let me pull it up here. You had mentioned, if I can find it, give me 1 second. You posted about maybe 30 days ago or so. It's over here somewhere. Yeah, you had said, um, you said you weren't perfect again. And one of the things that I want to mention to everybody, they're not able to see this or know this, but you mentioned even in the post you weren't perfect sticking to your food plates, right? That we had taught you,
Right.
right? But
Right.
yet you at the time you had lost 22 pounds, and very specifically you said, I haven't been perfect, but because this program has been so good and Coach Vinosh has done a great job of guiding me, I've still lost 22 pounds. Need to lose 3 more pounds to reach my goal. I think I would have never made it this far without this program. It is a great one. Uh, can you talk to me a little bit more about like what part of the accountability did you feel like helped you the most with a coach?
Uh, Accountability of, you know, I sort of teach coach first first few weeks because it says oh, you're cutting into my sleep, you know. I had to keep getting up earlier to get the 20 minutes and up to 30 minutes of movement. But um, I think just, he tried to keep me on track. It's like, okay, yeah, you had, I like I used to drink a lot of Diet Pepsi, and says, well, you shouldn't be drinking those. Try to find an alternative. But even of the alternatives, you don't want to be drinking very many of those. So he just tried to keep me going, and he, kept giving me guidance, like kept upping my water. Now I drink tons of it, but mostly so I don't get quite so hungry and
What about the guidance with
keep me
food? You
busy.
said throughout the program, you were, you would bring in foods that, are sometimes what we call comfort foods. How was he able to guide you through that?
I just, tried to point out, well, those have got a lot of carbs. Those have got a lot, that's going to make you retain weight and water weight. So, try to give some alternatives. Like if you're eating fruit, then you're eating a lot of carbs, and, probably the berries and some of those are a little less carbs, and the
I gave some
watermelon
better
and the
alternatives.
cantaloupe that I love,
All right, there you
or
go.
even cherries are probably a little better than those.
Right. So better alternatives to some of the things that you normally would snack on, right? Got
Yeah,
you.
eat a lot of, yeah.
Good, good. And
And I
one thing
love
I
my
want to say
bread
is
too. So I,
to
kept going,
monitor all
I
that.
mean, like
So you
the
monitor
bread.
all that, right? Your carbs and your
Right. Yeah.
macros
I
and
mean, you
everything.
got somebody helping you monitor it. That's the big help. I mean, you
Got it.
think about it, you have teachers and coaches for everything else. Why not a life coach, or basically?
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, man. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks
I want
for
to speak to that point right there, Steve. Hold on right there, because I think that's
mhm.
very powerful. Because I think a lot of us, I know I'm guilty of this before I jumped into the program 2 years ago, right, and lost the weight and on my journey right now is that we want to, I could do this. Let me do it on my own, right? Let me just keep doing the same thing I tried in the past that continues to make me lose weight, gain weight. Like, what is that? Like, can you just speak to that, Lee, that point where it's like, hey, this is the most important thing in my life, my health, right? I should have someone guiding me with this, right? Can you speak to that point?
Yeah, I think, it's like I was looking, I was looking for answers or something to help guide me for workouts or something. And I really can't remember where I found the Dr. Fit. And then, I got the interview, and I said, wow, yeah, let's try it, because I'm sort of stuck. I mean, I don't, even if you research it some, you don't necessarily know how to take all the steps for the diet part. Like I said, the plan to the food out better, plate it. You said, oh, I'll try to eat here and here, but that's, I think, where you balance up and down. And so with the program, they got somebody guiding that, plus the workouts. They give you, specific workouts. And frankly, 3 workouts like that, especially the Wednesday ones, plenty for me. That's works me pretty hard, but I like it. I even got my plank up to 6 minutes and 15 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
Oh, that's
That's
amazing.
impressive. That's impressive. Amazing.
Wow.
Lee,
Wow.
tell me the
Amazing.
truth with this one. Did you ever feel like giving up during the program?
one time I think I did a little bit of, man, am I doing all this? Am I going to be able to maintain it? And then plus I said, I missed some of the comfort food, and part of that's ingrained in our society as far as relationships with family and activities. What do? You go, you eat, and and you can still do that. You just diet. This off a little bit, but my son, he's doing his own low carb keto, and of course he's younger, and he work it off faster, but he actually takes a diet break day for a whole day once a month. It's like he eats whatever he wants. Then he's got to take it off. But he's lost a lot of weight doing that. But for me, that wouldn't work. And I don't know. The guidance has helped me, and I said also improve my mindset. Someone staying with it.
Awesome.
Building that
Still need some
resilience.
work on that, but at least I'm still headed in the right direction, and I'm wanting to maintain, and I'm doing fairly well at maintaining.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the part we're at. Lee has continued with us and he's doing the maintenance and he's going to see that now you're going to be able to see how you're able to keep this off without having to kill all your carbs, man, and do grueling hours of worth of workout in the gym and stuff, right? So it's the next phase, man. You're gonna have more fun as Hamza's on here, one of our doctors. He's been through the program probably a year with us, still maintained his weight, but able to eat a lot more calories than before and keep it off. So that's what you got to look forward to now, man. So congratulations, man.
Congrats,
Thank
Lee.
you. Thanks for
Congrats,
the
Lee.
help.
Absolutely. Any other last questions for Mohammed?
I want to I think because I sit here not only as a coach, but also as a client. And one thing I really want to echo is that, there's the knowledge piece, right? But there's a big psychological component to this too, right?
Right.
Big psychological component where it's like, can I do this? Should I do this? I want to give up, right? But then you've got like great coaches here, like Coach Seif, Coach Vinod, right? That remind you of your vision, that remind you why you're doing this, that, kind of snap you back into reality, right? And I think
Right.
all of us have that kind of experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been good. So yeah, I wouldn't have made it this far, and I don't know if I'd be able to stick with it this well. Like you said, you tend to bounce around, but that's again having a sort of like having a life coach. You said you have teachers and coaches for everything else, even that do got, even though they don't continue with you, but they've made enough impressions or enough education of you that you can continue with it.
So, man,
Should we do the
I
rapid
think,
fire, Seif?
yeah, if you got some, man, I think he already answered. I was going to ask him, he's on my list of rapid fire was he already answered it, but let's do it anyways. Did you have to only eat chicken and broccoli during the program, Lee?
Oh no, I I,
Right.
I ate my fair share of hamburger and
Yeah.
beef, I guess, roast beef and
So you
chicken and
weren't perfect on
turkey.
the program, right? And you still lost all those
No,
weight.
it's far from
Yeah.
that.
They would make you do hours of worth of grueling workouts daily, man, and
No,
to lose the weight.
three workouts, pretty good workouts for me anyway. At
All
my
right.
age, just about perfect for me. And then a lot of movements,
Yeah.
every day. I
Yeah.
hardly missed
That's
any
awesome.
movements. I haven't missed any workouts.
You did amazing, man. And one last question. We didn't bring this up, but I'll bring it up now. Uh, is is this something that you did on the road? Because what we didn't mention is you actually traveled back and forth, right? Every week. Um,
Uh,
so make mention of that real quick that you didn't just do this as sitting at home, but you're in a couple of different places throughout the week and throughout the month, right? So this
right,
is something you're able to do outside of, just the comfort of your home because of work.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I'm probably at my sister's more than I'm home, so most of it I sometimes have to adjust my day that I do my workout, adjust it a day or so,
Yeah.
uh, because
So yeah, in
when I'm
travel, you're able to
traveling,
follow the nutrition and you're able to lose 26 pounds, man. That's amazing, right? So sometimes
yeah,
people think they have to be a hermit, right? Before,
yeah,
joining a program like ours. And we teach them, no, you don't have to be a hermit. You can go out and actually travel. And, and for somebody like you that's between clinics, that you actually are between home and, going to work, two different places, you're able to still lose the weight, right? Enjoy
yep,
vacation, enjoy breaks, social events, right? Eat your
right,
hamburger and stuff like you said, right?
yeah, we got
Yeah,
to
absolutely,
throw,
absolutely.
yeah.
Good job, Lee. Good job. Awesome,
Awesome,
man. Well,
thanks.
thank you. We appreciate you joining us and sharing the story. Any last words for anybody that is on the fence, any doctor that's on the fence, and they're like, man, should I do this? Should I not? Is it going to work for me? What would you say to them?
I'd say do it, stick with it any way possible, and just you're gonna have some setbacks unless you're a lot better at it than me, but you just get back on. I think I had one really bad week where I was like, yeah, I had more like four, 10 steps backwards and five forward, but you know, look, it's still made it, you know, and just got back. I said I got discouraged one time, and
Yeah.
coach helped me and just got back to it, you know, and just keep going. You know, it's going to be worth it for your health, I think, and that's pretty important,
Awesome.
you know.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. You've
Thank you,
been
Lee.
hard on yourself, man. You've done pretty good, man. So good job, man.
Thanks. Thanks.
Appreciate you always dialing in, and whenever we had something to teach you, Coach Vanosh had something to teach you, you trusted the process and you said, you know what, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So cool. You weren't perfect, but you don't have to be perfect. It's just consistency brought you to this point. So congrats, man.
Congrats, Lee. Thank you, man.
Thanks. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man.
Thanks, coach.